Hello everyone, welcome back. Coach Fury here, and we're back today with my Draft Day Sports Pro 17 Let's Play series with the LA Waves or LA Lakers. And we sort of ended the last episode on the brink of the trade deadline and looking at whether we could make any moves to continue the good run of form that we're in. We're currently around, I think, 4th or 3rd in the Western Conference, and looking to see whether we could make that move to help us compete with the elite teams in the Western Conference. Unfortunately, that didn't quite happen. We didn't pull off any trades. I had an audacious attempt to try and get Kyrie Irving from Cleveland, as he was on the block, to see whether we could acquire him. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. We just didn't have the pieces to move him. I wasn't prepared to move John Wall, who I think they were looking for. There was nothing else. I did have a look at Serge Ibaka to try and get him, but again, I didn't want his length of contract because I wanted some cap room for this off season, because it's going to be a mega off season, I think, in the league, because there's a lot of top talent available. As you can see, looking at the screen, he actually ended up going to Dallas, which is a bit frustrating because he went to one of our arch rivals in the West, who have finished with a really strong 56-26 record. So that didn't quite happen. The rest of the season itself went pretty well. I mean, we finished with 48 wins, which was good, an improvement on last year, even if it's only by 1 win, I think. But it sort of gave us, we didn't quite didn't quite get into that top 4 positions. Denver just beat us to it. We had a vital game against them late on in the season. One of the last games of the season, and wrong screen. Here we go. One of the last games of the season, and we didn't quite beat them. We lost quite convincingly to them here, but it means that we've now got to play them anyway, and they'll have home court advantage for that series. So we'll see how we get on. I mean, you can see here we didn't do too well against them. Jokic just had an absolute field day against Gobert, who fouled out within 16 minutes. So we need a new plan of attack to limit Jokic. I think if we can stop him, we can win this game quite easily, hopefully. So looking at the rest of the league, obviously Golden State 75-7, which is just ridiculous, absolutely dominating everyone as usual. If we look at the rest of the Western Conference, Dallas again had that really good free agency, acquired James Harden and Kevin Love, and they've gone to a good record. Then there's Minnesota, who are doing pretty well, been doing pretty well past few seasons with Karl Anthony Towns. And then there's sort of us and a mixture of people. Surprisingly, Oklahoma didn't make the playoffs with Westbrook. They actually had quite a poor season, so interesting there. I'm not sure whether he's expiring actually. No, so he's under contract for a few more years, so he's going to be a little bit annoyed about that. In the Eastern Conference, pretty much business as usual for most of the guys here. The surprise is Boston. Boston have just fallen off this season, only 29 wins. We've talked about Cleveland in past episodes where they've kind of got LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and that's it. They're sort of going for a bit of a rebuild anyway. But at the top, it's obviously Milwaukee up top. A bit annoyed that New York Metros are up there because I've got their first round pick next year, so I hope they fall off. I think it's this Anton Paul. Has had a good season for them, and I believe that obviously Porzingis is playing phenomenal as well. So hopefully they'll drop off next year, so we'll get a nice pick from them. Then you've kind of got the Philadelphia, who are always seem to be underachieving. I think they should be dominating this conference, and they're really not. Then you kind of got usual guys: Toronto, Orlando, Brooklyn back in the playoffs, and Chicago as well, and Washington just scraping in there really. But in terms of the conferences, you can see the bottom 2 places for each conference have gone to losing records, which I think is the first time that's happened in our Let's Play series. So what does that mean for us? Well, it means that we, like I said, have got to play Denver. We're the 5th seed, and we're going to be sort of a little bit against it here. I think we'll have to sort out some matchups and get that fixed, and hopefully that will get us through. Looking across the rest of the Western Conference, Golden State should have no problem beating Utah. Same Minnesota, New Orleans, although Carl Anthony Townsend against Anthony Davis should be interesting, and Dallas San Antonio should be a straightforward one. Over on the East, excuse me, Milwaukee should beat Washington. Toronto, Orlando, that could go either way really. Philadelphia should beat Brooklyn, and New York should easily overcome Chicago. So if we look at who we've got to play, obviously it's Denver, and they've got, in terms of their starting five, Moutier, Murray, Harris, Farid and Jokic. I think if we stop Jokic, like I said, I think that's the key to it. So with that in mind, and considering that Gobert has struggled against him, we're going to move him around the rotation a little bit. We're going to probably put Biyombo and Noel in to start, and Gobert is going to come off the bench. So we're going to quickly adjust the matrix to reflect that. So where Biyombo is at the moment, we're obviously going to put Gobert in, and we're going to switch Noel around a little bit. So I'm just going to flip him around first of all. That's probably the easiest one to do. So I don't mind that. I don't mind Biyombo playing against him for a few minutes. Just Gobert I'm trying to avoid playing against, because Jokic is, I'll sort of show you quickly. So if we go to the roster, Jokic is a unique sort of centre in this game, in that he spends some of his time in the post, but he also likes to get out and about and shoot the jump shot, and Gobert I don't think is particularly good at defending that. From what we've seen, so that's why we're going to sort of mix this up a little bit for the first game at least, and see how it goes. If it doesn't work, we may go back and switch it around again, but I think in Noel, where he's a little bit more mobile, should hopefully get the better of him. So we're just going to switch these guys around a little bit. We'll probably play Gobert at the 4, I don't mind that, because I think he's up against Farid, and Farid is just a guy who sits in the paint really, so he should have a better time there. So like I said, we're going to probably put Biyombo in here a little bit more, give him a few more minutes, but I might leave Gobert at the 4 a little bit more, so I'll probably give Biyombo a few more minutes and let Gobert play some time as well. So we'll give Gobert sort of 20 minutes, we'll give Biyombo 28, and we'll give Noel 40 minutes and see if he can stop Jokic in this first series. In terms of the rest of the team, I'm not going to change anything. We'll keep it as is and see how we get on. So I'm probably going to just sim this first game, just see how we do. Hopefully we can get the result that we need. Yeah, good. So we got the first win away on the road. Close one by 2 points, but it looks like that rotation sort of fixed it a little bit. So John Wall having a really good game, which is good to see. Ingram as well, solid enough. Noel got some points up, and he limited Jokic to 5 of 20, which is exactly what we wanted. So hopefully we can keep that up for the second game. Take home a 2-0 lead, which would be great. Ooh, they sneak one by 1 point. So yeah, Jokic obviously had a good game there. He adjusted a little bit, and Noel fouled out in 16 minutes. So that's going to be the key for this, is that if we can find a way to just basically make sure we've got someone good guarding him all the time, who is mobile enough, then we should be okay. So if we go into our first home game, crucial set of home games really, if we can win both, that gives us a really good footing on the road. Yeah, good. So we get the first one. That's good. By 10 points. Again, we didn't hold Jokic that well, to be honest with you, but we held him to less points. That's the key, I think. I'm happy for Murray and Moutier to go off on a few, but you see here Ingram having a really, really good game as well. John Wall not particularly great. Noel not particularly great shooting night, but I don't mind if he doesn't shoot well as long as he stops Jokic. That's the main thing. Ooh, so we split our home games, which means we'll have to do it on the road. Yeah, Jokic just seem to have got the better on it from there. That's the thing, we've got to be consistent. So we're 2-2 apiece as we go to play them on the road again. 21 points, that's not even close. How has that worked? Jokic is now scoring 15 points. Have we got an injury or something? No, so no injuries. I don't know how that can happen. So I think we're going to just tweak this slightly. If we go Gobert on the starting position and Biyombo on the bench, so hopefully when Jokic comes on, if he fouls out in the well, we'll have Biyombo. Damn it! That's just frustrating. After having such a good start, we've just fallen away there. And that is our playoffs over. Literally in a heartbeat. In 10 minutes, our playoff season's over. Lost by 5 points. I said that was the key. We had to stop Jokic, and we just didn't in the end. Well, let's sim through the playoffs and see what happens. That's frustrating. That's really frustrating. It's annoying because I fancied us to have really got through that to have beaten Dallas. I really think we'd have beaten Dallas or Minnesota, whoever we'd have had to have played. Frustrating. But I suppose the positives are that we have a bunch of cap room this off season, so we can completely just knock this team down and rebuild it again. I think that's where I'm leaning to now. If we can't get over Denver and we can't win over 50 games, this team's clearly not constructed right, and we'll have to think about a different approach. So as you see, Golden State pretty much dominated and won right the way through. Minnesota squeaked through. Dallas went out in the first round, so that's interesting. In the East, no major upsets there by the looks of it. Milwaukee losing to Philadelphia, but that was kind of it. Okay, so it's frustrating. So we haven't got any lottery picks, so we'll just flick through this, see who has the first pick. And we'll have a little look at the awards. See, don't know if you guys can see this on the screen, but so yeah, MVP was Jokic. No surprise. Defensive player Giannis. Sixth man Clarkson, who we did have but we traded. Florian Michels was the rookie of the year from Dallas. Hey, I'm not going to look at first teams. Yeah, that's a frustrating end to that season. So we've now played, is that about 4 or 5 seasons now? And the first we've got is to the Western Conference. I think we got to the finals actually in like the second season with a bit of luck, because I think Golden State had a bunch of injuries. But I think that we've got to come to the decision now that the team that we've got is not good enough to win it. We're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more drastic in our approach, which means probably that we let a lot of people walk in free agency and we try and go for bust and pick up a couple of real true all-stars and see if that can get us over the hump in the West. I mean, it is tough because you've got the likes of Golden State, who have basically got a monopoly on this Let's Play series now, but I think that's where we're leaning. We'll have a look at the draft in the next episodes probably, and we will come back and recap them. So this was planned to be a little bit of a longer episode, but unfortunately because of the terrible run, we are out.